but not much about the women who held it all together with grit and spit. Reality is plain. There never would have been a settled West without the women. First, here were the native women, followed by the Spaniards, the Mexicans, the Europeans, the Africans, and the Chinese, all settling the vast, unknown, uncharted lands beyond the Mississippi River. Women who toiled, who struggled, who tried to make sense of their lives, who, perhaps, sought a creative way to find joy and meaning. Where did they find the strength? Was it through fate? Was it through faith? Emily Dickinson here? She could have been one such inspiration. You know, the Bible, Shakespeare, any number of wonderful works of literature came west, accompanied by music and dance. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. My mother's child is a savage. She looks to her omens in the colors of stones, in the faces of cats, in the falling of feathers, in the dancing of fire, and the curve of old bones. My mother's child dances in darkness. She sings heathen songs to the light of the moon. She watches the stars and renames the planets, and dreams she can reach them with a song and a broom. La 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 la. We are our mother's savage daughters, the ones who run barefoot, cursing sharp stones. We are our mother's savage daughters. We will not cut our hair. We will not lower our voice. I was just manhandled and knocked down in the street by the lowest form of a racial bigot. Because I told him that I was going to tell everybody about his evil intentions. Thank you all for coming here tonight. As citizens of Jerome, it's important that we know what is happening in our town. Surely, you must all know that we are a thriving town. We already have an opera house, 4 churches, a half dozen hotels, 3 newspapers, and this beautiful, beautiful public library, and telephones. But perhaps most importantly, we have the most diverse population in the whole territory. We have Italians, Germans, Irish, Russians, the largest minority, Mexicans, and the smallest, Chinese. We, all of us, must make our community the best that it can be, and in so doing, we must embrace the truth. Forgive me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura Nihel. My kinsman husband and I, along with our 2 school-age children, came to Jerome from California in 1900. Now, in this year of 1909, I have been highly praised for purchasing the Copper Bell weekly newspaper. I am one of the few to exist in the all-male world of journalism, and I am the third woman to own a newspaper in Arizona. As I mentioned before, thank you. As I mentioned before, we have 3 newspapers. My main competition, though, is the weekly Jerome News, run by that lowly excuse for a man, William Adams. You know, at first, he seemed like a fair man. I mean, he publicly supported the most popular restaurant in town, you know, Charlie Hong's English Kitchen. In fact, this past summer, he printed in his newspaper, hold on, I want to get this right. And I quote, "There is no more popular man in Jerome than little Charlie Hong, and he numbers his friends among all walks of life. His credit is good for any amount with merchants, and he enjoys the enviable reputation of feeding more people than any other restaurant in town. He is an American in all but birth." What more could be said? Well, apparently quite a lot. Just a couple months ago, King turned on Charlie Hong, and he demanded that his restaurant be closed and he be deported. He would cite reports from the town constable, Charlie King, all these Charlies get a little mixed up, Charlie King, that Charlie Hong was using filthy meat from garbage boxes to feed his customers. Now, I want to ask you something. If the food is so filthy, why do King and Adams continue to eat there? Oh, and often. But of course, they refuse to pay. You see, Charlie Adams wanted his wife wanted to open a white restaurant, and he didn't want the competition. Yeah. So Charlie Hong, came to me and asked me if I would help him. He begged me to tell his story. I let him write an article in my paper denouncing the charges, and then I also set out after King and Adams. I called the attacks vile, and I asked you, the town of Jerome, to stand by Charlie Hong. And I feel that all of Jerome does stand behind Mr. Hong. You know, I'm sure that little scuffle in the street is going to cause quite a scandal. You see, I have enraged the most powerful men in town, and I know it. But, I mean, what is the worst that the most powerful men in town can do to me? Erase me from history? Although, I do feel it could go that extreme. But only history knows that little secret. I do want to tell you this, though. I will always be a voice for the undertrodden, and I will always stand by my convictions. We must stand up to these bullies. We cannot let them ruin our wonderful, wonderful town. Thank you.
What this is. They may not need me, but they might. I'll keep my head just out of sight. A smile as small as mine might be. Precisely their necessity? Well, show. Do I have your attention now? That was a little loud for a gal that Wild Bill affectionately called Little Missy. But a more important thing to know about me is I ain't afraid to love a man. And I sure as hell ain't afraid to shoot one neither. My birth name is Annie Mosley, but it's Annie Oakley I'm known by around the world. More importantly, I sued William Randolph Hearst 55 times for falsely printing a story on August 11th, 1903, stating that I, a beloved entertainer, America's sweetheart, had been arrested for cocaine possession in Chicago. Well, anyone who knows me knows I don't even let alcohol pass my lips, lest it affect my aim. How dare that man question my integrity? Well, I won 54 suits against Mr. Hearst. And I cost that man a whole heap of money and embarrassment. Damn, that was fun. But I was lucky in another way also in my life. I got to live a different kind of life than most American women of my day, because I had freedoms that came from living a life in the limelight, where the outrageous was expected, and danger became my middle name. Any time I say that word, freedoms, I get a burning in my belly. I don't think you even have any idea how rare it was for women to have any freedoms in my day. I wouldn't have traded my life for any other. But you know, I gotta give Buffalo Bill Cody some credit for that. Bill was the first to have women in his traveling, and may I say, very successful, Buffalo Bill Cody Wild West show. In fact, at the time, it was considered to be the greatest show on earth. So I was mighty thrilled when he decided to hire me and my beloved husband, Frank, in 1885. We went on to amaze crowds with my remarkable markwomanship. You heard me right. Not only in America, but across the courts of Europe. Can you even imagine me, a little girl from Ohio, having tea with the royals? But actually, I was quite surprised to find that almost all of the male and female royals often went on hunting and shooting competitions. So we actually had much in common and much to share. After working for a while with my good friend, the great Indian chief Sitting Bull, who nicknamed me Watatana Sasia, which translates to Little Sure Shot. He named me after his daughter who had passed, making me his honorary daughter and a member of the Sioux Nation. Of all the many awards and accolades I received in my life, that was by far my greatest honor. You would see me in my performances. Oftentimes, I would just hit a playing card, head edge on. I would hit targets tossed in the air. I shot a cigarette right off my husband's lips. How many of you ladies out there would like to try that? I riddled a palladium playing card, thrown in the air before it even touched the ground. But then I had an accident. No, not a shooting accident. It was a train. They said I would never walk again. The newspapers started calling me an elderly, frail woman. So what do you think I went out and did? I went out and shot 100 clay targets in a row from 16 yards, and I set a new trap shoot record. Elderly indeed. But let me tell you, it was quite a ride. Theater tickets were named Annie Oakley's because of how the punch holes resembled the playing cards I used in my performances. I was the highest paid athlete in America. And I was a woman. But you could have read about most of that in any legitimate newspaper. So I'm guessing you're here to find out, why did she work so hard? Where did all the money go? What was she like on offstage? And of course my favorite, was she more of a Calamity Jane or a Carrie Nation? Well, folks, that's an easy one. I'm just Annie. Didn't take long in my life for me to realize that I was going to have to be responsible for my family. We were only 15 when we almost lost the farm. But I went out and through my shooting and my hunting, I was able to pay off the mortgage. And even today, people come up and ask me, how can you be so happy all the time when you had such a difficult childhood? Well, I tell them that's why I shoot so good, because I had to. But I'm thinking maybe some of you out there hadn't read about my childhood, the years that I spent in servitude. But that's a story for another day. I went out and I taught 15,000 women how to shoot a gun for free. Not just for self-defense, but for their strength and confidence, because I wanted every woman to be able to handle a gun just as naturally as she would handle her own babies. So you see, it was my family and my charities where all my time and money was spent. Why I worked so hard? Well, that and maybe a little bit for the applause. When I heard that my country was going to war with Spain, I desperately wanted to be of help. Perhaps a little selfishly, because I wanted the world to see what women could do. So I sat down and I wrote a letter to President McKinley, offering my government the services of 50 of my best female sharpshooters, along with their own guns and ammunition. But my offer was rejected. So Frank and I went out and did all we could. We raised money for the cause. We entertained the troops. But the president did name his volunteers Rough Riders after my show. And I am betting he didn't even have a clue that there were 50 female sharpshooters in the whole country. But all that tells me is there is more work to be done.
Buenas noches, mi buena gente. Good evening, my good people. My name is Senora Maria Barcelo, but most people prefer to call me La Tulis. I hope you're all enjoying your time in my fine bar and casino, and I trust you're not losing too much money. You should not be, after all. I was not playing the tables. I am not ashamed to admit that I am quite skilled in the art of cards. I never desired to fit into a mold. I never cared for conventional rules, and I chose not to take my husband's name, a custom practiced by many affluent Mexicana women. In fact, throughout my life, I did everything in my own name. I was not one to stay home and cook for my family. I refused to dress simple. And I will not cast my eyes down in public. I was born in Sonora, Mexico, to a fine family who saw that I was well educated. In 1821, when Mexico won independence from Spain, we moved to the remote northern territory of New Mexico. And then, when I married that handsome rancher, Manuel Cisneros, in the idyllic village of Tomé, the padre referred to me as a Doña. A Doña, a title given women of quality and high social standing. Over the next few years, we did have 2 sons, but sadly they both passed as infants. But we were desperate to start a new family, and were lucky enough to adopt a beautiful little girl from a local orphanage. It wasn't long after that I decided to open my first small gambling saloon for the miners in the San Ortiz Mountains, and it was a success. So I opened 2 more small saloons in neighboring locations. Later, when we settled in Santa Fe, I would travel the city playing the Spanish gambling card game they called Monte, amassing a small fortune. This small fortune grew and grew, and I was able to open this grand, luxurious establishment right downtown Santa Fe. My clientele were Mexicanos, of course, but also Americanos who traveled the Santa Fe Trail. The provincial governor and other local politicos were good friends and loyal customers. Later, when the Americano military arrived, I warmly welcomed them into my casino. I tell you, I made so much money. I started investing in real estate and other businesses in the area. And we finally adopted another little girl, making our family complete. We lived so well. States went to war with Mexico over the ownership and boundary of Texas. I supported the Americanos. Porque no? Why not? After all, they had afforded us such a good life. I even financed their war with the wealth that I had accrued in my Santa Fe casino called Milon. I even paid the Americano troops, making the continued protection for my Santa Fe possible. In my casino, I could overhear many conversations and was able to uncover a plot against the Americanos, thus preventing a massacre. The war ended in 1848 with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo with Mexico, ending its claim to Texas, as well as parts of California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. Under the terms of this treaty, myself and other Mexicanos in the New Mexico territory automatically became proud United States citizens in 1849. Adios. I know my success is often questioned. Did I earn my pesos legally, or were they ill-gotten? A game of cards, perhaps prostitution, or maybe, just maybe, jealousy and racial hatred. I had many admirers. I also had many critics. They would call me the gambling queen of Santa Fe. They would call me the queen of sin for running a house of open gambling, drinking, and smoking. And of course, those ever-present accusations. Prostitution. Little did they know, I made frequent contributions to poor families in need, to charitable organizations and the Catholic Church, as well as to many small schools and businesses in the area. Well, I am going to agree with all the gossip and all the rumors and let them just wonder from where I get my strength, my independence, and all my energy. Bueno pues, compadres. Hasta luego. I hope to see you back at the tables. Ventacha. Good luck.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. If you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream. Row, row, row your boat safely to the shore. If you see a lion, don't forget to roar. What is this here? To build a prairie, you need one clover and a bee and a river reed. If a river reed is few, one bee will do. Oh, it must make some sense. What do you think? You know what? I don't care. I wonder what everyone thinks of me. You think I care? I don't give a damn. Everyone calls me Calamity Jane. And it's been said that if you mess with me, your life is going to be a calamity. For many reasons, I'm sure. Because I am a complicated, kick-ass woman with many virtues and many vices. I despise everyone and everybody. I fit in no box. I am no Florence Nightingale, nor am I Joan of Arc. I did what I had to do. And I'll be damned if my virtue did not outweigh my vice, which I'm the first one to say is alcohol. If you lived my life, you surely would have taken comfort in the devil's room. I was born May 1st in 1852 in Missouri to a no-good gambling father and a mother of the worst kind who left us orphaned very young. I was 16 when my father died, leaving 4 siblings with me as the eldest. So I took my siblings, left Missouri, and went west to Sheraton, Wyoming, where I did any job I could possibly find to feed them. I was a dishwasher. I was a ranch hand. I was a dance hall girl. Oh, you should have seen the guys come and see me. And I was a prostitute. I don't remember when I stopped being mommy. But when I went out on my own, the Army hired me as a scout. And that is when I started wearing men's clothing. I have great respect for the underdog, and I fail to be impressed by the riches of society. And my lack of pretense, affiliation with the femininity, virtue, I soon became a symbol of rough virtue and hardness. I have a heart of gold, a lively sense of humor, and a good storyteller. Also, I'm good. Shot. Maybe not as good as Annie, but I'm close to it. Combined with all my exciting adventures, I gave the tabloids fodder, and the drama was on. All America knew me. By 1873, at the age of 21, I was glorified in all those dime novels. The Legend of Calamity Jane. And those expensive paperbacks with orange covers presenting doing dangerous deeds. I was a pioneer. I was friends of Buffalo Bill and Wild Billy Hickok. And a woman of 1,000 different experiences. Also, heroine in 10 novels of Edward L. Wheeler, who spread my reputation, and I was a household name across America, even though some of those stories were fiction. He never once put me in the light of a woman with a bad reputation, but I was a woman that drank way too much. I don't care if you're rich or you're poor or you're black or you're white. My heart, purse, is open to every hungry human. So I don't give a damn what you think of me, because I am going to live my life and go to hell in my own route. And I am going to have fun along the way. So I am going to hope and pray and just maybe that I will be buried next to Wild Bill. Oh, God, I love that man. Oh, and it just wasn't meant to be. Oh, damn. Oh, now I have this. This is in my own. Row your boat gently down the stream. If you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream. Row your boat gently down the shore. If you see a crocodile, don't forget to roar. Row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. We are our mother's savage daughters, the ones who run barefoot, cursing sharp stones. We are our mother's savage daughters. We will not cut our hair. We will not lower our voice.